So I mean, both of us probably. Certainly, it's I kind of fell into marketing. Marketing happened to me rather than I kind of woke up one day and said, what I really want to be is a B2B marketer. If you were giving some advice now to a person starting out in B2B marketing, and apart from don't do it, what would be your the skills that they should really focus on?
Yeah, well, I would say it, wouldn't I? But I think I appreciate the sales environment, because I think still very much when I talk to B2B marketers, 9 times out of 10, B2B is sold through a sales force. So you have a field sales force, whether it's entirely selling the offering, the product, the service to the customers or the prospects, or a part of it, which is a significant part of the business. So most B2B technology businesses I work for have had 80% of their revenue comes to 20% of the customers, and so understanding the mind of the sales guy is very important. So if you have that appreciation, I think that's a good thing. And I came from a sales background initially and moved into marketing kind of in the early part of my career, and I think that's stood me in good stead, because a lot of what you're trying to achieve is really enabling a sales force to be successful. So I think you've got to have a desire to understand that. I think in most B2B marketing roles that I've kind of worked with, sort of purely creative isn't really the thing. Creative is nice, but it's not going to sell. So I would rather use esteemed people like yourself to do that than hiring dedicated creative people. B2B businesses tend to be very sales focused. Marketing is expected to be very sales focused. So invest time if you're looking to get into this, into marketing, B2B marketing, to understand the business and think about the kind of sales objectives and what we're trying to do from a business perspective, and have appreciation of that, because I think that's a great foundation to work from.
That's a really critical point to me. I mean, again, when I first started in B2B marketing, it was really in a PR role. And PR people are kind of the epitome of, I think, the old style B2B marketing, where they were really the people who made the arrangements. They booked the room at the Savoy Hotel for the big press conference for the American CEO to come over. They decided, where the flowers should be in the room. And that change that you're talking about, getting under the skin of sales, where we move from being the people who make the arrangements to the people who make the rain, and we're actually the ones that own the funnel and pushing prospects down through the funnel. How does marketing earn the right with sales to actually invert that relationship, where essentially sales kind of used to say and marketing would say, how high would you like me to jump? Now we're saying, actually, we know our market so well. Really, we're going to provide these qualified leads. So how does that relationship go?
And I think that's the biggest shame about a lot of B2B marketing. I think we gave the right over to the sales force to define, what constituted, the right thing to do. So marketing became, a fulfillment to, half of the P of the 5 Ps of marketing, right? So, and that was, more shame on marketing, because, we weren't. This is 10, 15 years, I guess you think about the evolution of where we've gone. We weren't doing, pushing back, and we just kind of stepped back. So, if I was in that, I was kind of culpable to that to some extent. I think, the digital tools have been a godsend, and I think things like marketing automation have been a godsend to let marketers kind of continue to do that job, to service the sales teams, but gradually retake the high ground, because what they can start to do is say, well, look, we need to do lead generation programs, or we need to do awareness programs, or we need to, build traffic to our site. We need to put some tools to track and measure that. Yeah, we understand that. That's your job, right? To bring in some sort of leads and hand over to sales. And then once you start to do that, you can sort of gradually, I think, kind of seep into the pipeline to say, okay, well, now we're doing this, we're noticing that, down the pipeline, this isn't happening. So what's wrong with the handshake that we have between marketing and sales, and how can we improve that? And then gradually you're sort of getting more in the conversation about looking at the broader pipeline, and not about some of the things that marketing used to stop at, which was, we've collected 100 cards at a trade show, we've put them into spreadsheet, there you go, we've done our job. Meanwhile, we're going to go off and think about a new ad and get that, those giveaways done, something like that. So I think there's a great opportunity, because also, if I would have wanted to do that 10 years ago, it would have been phenomenally expensive for me to do that. It would have been phenomenally expensive for me to do that at a large corporation, and difficult to justify. It would have been impossible for me to do that at a small business. If you look at some of the software as a service tools, and they're almost free now, right? So the tools that you have, which means you can pick these up without having to go to your CFO, doffing your cap and saying, I just need £250,000 to buy Siebel, and we're sorted. Now you can say, look, I'm just going to take out a $500 a month, license, and try it out, see how it gets on, and not even go through the full corporate approval process. So I think there's a great opportunity. I think
it certainly feels like an inflection point. The tool's becoming cheap as chips, really. I mean, and then you can start to prove your worth.
I think marketing was held back by not being enabled. So it's like a lot of technology, right? Suddenly with the kind of the enabling technology has been so cheap, whether it's chips in PCs, or whether it's kind of the ability to buy online media or whatever. Suddenly it's just that's gone away now. So I think that was a big barrier for marketing to do anything. And I think now you've taken that away. So now it's your ability to do something and build a credible business case.
And you can prove that you've done it. You can think about it in the morning, implement it in the afternoon, and start getting some data back in the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And switch it off if it doesn't work within 48 hours, right? So you can prototype things, you can be a lot more agile, you can try something, if it doesn't work, A/B test the hell out of things. I mean, you've got so much more scope to innovate how you do things and deliver results without having to do a 6-month scoping project, get the buy-in of all your senior management, raise it up, try and get signed off for 6-figure budgets, and then it all being turned down, and you're in an endless cycle of kind of approval.